Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Radha Dem Vishupad Paramahamsa Pri Vrajgacharya Stotra Satya Sri Simad His Divine Grace Celebrate Charan Narvinda Bhakti Swami Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Skandi Biti, Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, Samaveta Bhakti Vrinda ki, Harinam Sankirtan ki, Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki, Jani Tagore Primanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada ki. There's a proper time to give a garland, and there's an improper time to give a garland. We should learn the difference. Om Ajnanatirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Taksuranmiritam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Parakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavansya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanditam Sya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suchidevi Vanamali Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Ram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Nara, Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu
नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
Bhagavatu Tamasloke
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki.
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama
इदं भागवत नाम
Puranam Brahma Samhitam
पुराणं ब्रह्मसंहिताम्
Uttama Sloka Charitam
उत्तमश्लोके चरितम्
Sakara Bhagavan Rishi
चकार भगवान् ऋषि
Dishreya Sayalokasya
निःश्रेयसाय योगस्य
Nanyam Swasayanam Maha.
धर्मं नमः
This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Granthara, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, the Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Shri Krishna Chaitanya
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
Prabhu Nityananda
प्रभु नित्यानंद
Sri Advaita
श्री
Gadadhara
अद्वैत गदाधर
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
हरे कृष्णा
Krishna Krishna Hare
कृष्णा
Hare
कृष्णा हरे हरे
Hare Rama Hare Rama
हरे राम
Rama Rama Hare Hare
राम राम हरे हरे
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Om Sarabhyay Namaha
ओम सुरभ्याय नमः
Om Sarabhyay Namaha
ओम सुरभ्याय नमः
Om Sarabhyay Namaha
ओम सुरभ्याय नमः
Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam yatkripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. Welcome to our morning Bhagavatam class, Canto number 1, chapter 9, the end portion of this chapter entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadev. Yes, 45, correct. Tatra
तत्र
Dundubhayo
दुन्दुभयो
Nedur
नेदुर
Deva
देव
Manava
मानव
Vaditaha
बाधितः
Shashamsuhu
शशंसुः
Sadavo
सदव
Rajnam
राजं
Khat
खट्
Petuhu
पेतुः
Pushpa
पुष्प
Vristayah
विष्टयः
Tatra Dundubhayo Nedur
तत्र दुन्दुभयो नेदुर
Deva Manava Vaditaha
देवमानव बाधितः
Shashamsu Sadavo Rajnam
शशंसु सदव राजनं
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayah
Khaketu Vishwavishya
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Tatra Dindubhayanedur
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Devamanavaditaha
Shashamshu Sadavo Ratnam
Shashamshu Sadhavarajanam
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Khaketu Vishwavishya
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Tatra Dindubhayanedur
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Devamanavaditaha
Shashamsu Sadavo Rajnam
Shashamshu Sadhavarajanam
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Khaketu Vishwavishya Tatra Dindubhayanedur
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Deva Manavaditaha
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Shashamsu Sadhavaragyam
Shashamsu Sadavo Rajnam
Khatpetuhu Pushpavishtayaha
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Tatra Dundabhayo Nedur
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Deva Manavaditaha
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Shasamsu Sadhavoragyam Shasamsu Sadhavaragyam Khatpetuhu Pushpavishtaha
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Tatra Dundabhayo Nedur
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Deva Manavaditaha
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Shasamsa Sadbhayo Rajnam
Shashamsu Sadvayo Rajnam
Khatpetuhu Pushpavishtaha
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Tatra Dundubhayo Nedur
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Deva Manavaditaha
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Shashamsu Sadhavorajyam
Shashamsu Sadavo Rajam
Khatpetuhu Pushpavishtayaha
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha
Tatra Dundubhayo Nedur
Tatra Dundubhayo Nidura
Deva Manavaditaha
Deva Manava Vaditaha
Shashamsu Sadhavorajyam
Shashamsu Sadavo Rajam
Khatpetuhu Pushpavishtayaha
Khat Petu Pushpa Vristayaha Tatra
Tatra
Thereafter
Thereafter
Dundubhaya
Dundubhayaha
Drums
Drums
Neduhu
Neduhu
were sounded
were sounded
Deva
Deva
the demigods from other planets
the demigods from other planets
Manava
Manava
men from all countries
men from all countries
Vaditaha
Baditaha
beaten by
beaten by
Shashamsuhu
Sasamsu
praised
praised
Sadavaha
Sadhavaha
honest
honest
Rajnam
Rajanam
by the royal order
by the royal order
Khat
Khat
from the sky
from the sky
Pituhu
Pituhu
began to fall
began to fall
Pushpa Vristayaha
Pushpavishtayaha
showers of flowers.
flower of flowers.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Raghava Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Thereafter, both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect. And from the sky fell showers of flowers. Kindly repeat after me. Thereafter, both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect. And from the sky fell showers of flowers. Purport. Bhishmadev was respected both by the human beings and by the demigods. The human beings live on Earth and similar other planets in the Bhur and Bhuvar group of planets. But the demigods live in the Svar, or heavenly planets. And all of them knew Bhishma Dev as a great warrior and devotee of the Lord. As a Mahajana, or authority, he was on the level of Brahma, Narada, and Shiva, although he was a human being. Qualification on a par with the great demigods is possible only on attainment of a spiritual perfection. Thus, Bhishma Dev was known all over the universe, all over the universes, yeah. And during his time, interplanetary travel was affected by finer methods than the futile endeavors of mechanical spacecrafts. It's a message for NASA. a jab in. When the distant planets were informed of the passing away of Bhishma Deva, all the inhabitants of the upper planets, as well as of the earth, dropped showers of flowers to show due respect to the departed great personality. This showering of flowers from heaven is a sign of recognition by great demigods, and it should never be compared to the decoration of a dead body. The body of Bhishma Dev lost its material effects due to being surcharged with spiritual realization. And as the body was spiritualized, as when iron becomes red hot when in contact with fire. The body of a fully self-realized soul is not, therefore, accepted as material. Special ceremonies are observed for such spiritual bodies. The respect and recognition of Bhishma Dev are never to be imitated by artificial means, as it has become a fashion to observe the so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. What is referred to as Jayanti ceremony? When somebody dies, Jayanti means
Birth. Birth.
huh?
Birth anniversary.
Birth.
Yes.
Birth.
Here we go, Sanskrit. Jayanti means victory, no?
Victory. Big T, win.
Victory means um, victory over death.
Yes,
Yeah.
but Jayanti means victory. But many times, I think most of the times, we celebrate Jayanti as the birth anniversary of the great peoples.
Big
Like Subarna Jayanti of ISKCON means 50 years of ISKCON.
Like we celebrate Balaram Jayanti.
Gulam Jayanti.
Yes. So what is being said is that in our spiritual practices, Jayanti
Jayanti means ceremony.
ceremony.
Yeah.
But what is the meaning of the ceremony? Yeah. What is the meaning of the ceremony? It means
Jayanti means ceremony.
there are so many ceremonies. So what is the meaning of this ceremony, Jayanti?
Here, big tea ceremony.
Victory ceremony.
Yeah.
So when we say Balaram Jayanti, what do we mean?
Balaram
Balaram Jayanti, no. The
Ba-
appearance.
Balaram
Balaram Jayanti means the appearance of Lord Balaram. Yes?
Giant Balaram. Actually,
Actually,
which purpose of ceremony that is means.
so just trying to understand here in this line, Prabhupada is referring that it has become a fashion to observe the so-called Jayanti ceremony for any and every common man. So Jayanti doesn't mean, in this context, birth, because Bhishma Deva is not being born here, he's leaving his body, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, let's just continue. Prabhupada explains further here. According to authorized shastras, such as Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary man, according to authorized shastras, such as Jayanti ceremony for an ordinary man, however exalted he may be materially, is an offense to the Lord because Jayanti is reserved for the day when the Lord appears on the earth. So Jayanti in our context means when the Lord or his incarnation, Balaram,
Yes.
Jayanti or other Jayanti. Bhishma Dev was unique in his activities, and his passing away to the kingdom of God is also unique. So just reading the translation again. There, after both men and demigods sounded drums in honor, and the honest royal order commenced demonstrations of honor and respect, and from the sky fell showers of flowers. So we don't see flowers falling from the sky very often nowadays. In the Nectar of Devotion, it actually mentions how, well, just like here, 5,000 years ago, there was interaction between ordinary human beings, not actually ordinary, but between certain human beings and demigods. Prabhupada writes in the Nectar Devotion that because since the beginning of Kali Yuga, the demigods are bypassing our planet. They're not stopping. They used to visit. They used to exchange between very special, elevated personalities. So this is what is being described here, that when Vedic culture is in place, it is enabling the we could say the making or the creation of very great personalities, even superhuman personalities. Just a few days ago, actually we have in different places Gurukula, and we're beginning to see, and this will increase, is meant to increase more and more, when we give an opportunity, when we create a situation whereby children from a very young age are brought up in Krishna consciousness. From a very young age, they learn, of course, how to play different instruments, and some of them become very expert. And also, from a very young age, some of them start giving Bhagavatam class. And not only just like a parrot can recite verses also. You know, we can teach a parrot to chant Hare Krishna, but he can't give a very long purport on Hare Krishna. But some of our Gurukul boys are, because they're born in devotee family, because from, as we were discussing, even before being born, they are getting to hear about spiritual subject matters, and therefore just to be born in a devotee family is considered most auspicious, and it is due to previous pious activities as well. So part of restoring Vedic culture, which is one of our, we could say, primary objectives, isn't it? That is directly what Krishna is explaining in the Bhagavad Gita. Dharma samstapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. I appear, I incarnate at different times to re-establish the principles of Dharma. And re-establishing the principles of Dharma means actually creating a situation, creating an atmosphere, at least in the mode of goodness, actually beyond, where individuals, they become great personalities like Grandfather Bhishmadev, isn't it? Where such personalities attract actually the attention of other great personalities, means different demigods. So this is what is being described here, that for such great personalities that we still observe actually in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, when a great personality disappears, actually anyone who is practicing Krishna consciousness to the extent that one is properly executing activities in devotional service, which is being mentioned here, one's body actually becomes spiritualized. Just like just a few days back, I was looking at the very nice series of videos are there describing the over the years when Srila Prabhupada was physically present, his different activities where he traveled. Devotees would arrange for him to meet different persons, different personalities. And then this particular video, I'm sure many of you have seen, what is called final pastimes, similar to what we are reading here. The final pastimes of Srila Prabhupada have been captured actually on video, isn't it? And one of the devotees who was there, physically present, was describing that after Srila Prabhupada passed away, there's a whole ceremony that is meant to be observed, and the body is washed. The body is, if one is in Vrindavan, the body of a saintly person is taken to the different, the major temples, 7 major temples in Vrindavan. And so it was well over 24 hours. You know, Prabhupada passed away actually in the evening, and then he was taken in procession the next day to the different temples. So it was already many, many hours after Srila Prabhupada's actually leaving his body. And we see in the video when, because the devotees had to prepare the place, actually months before Srila Prabhupada's departure, he had told the devotees, make my samadhi here. Prabhupada, had already chosen his actual place where the samadhi, which is where it is now in Vrindavan. So when Srila Prabhupada's body is actually brought down in the pit samadhi, we see clearly in the video how Prabhupada's body is very, not rigid. Generally, when people leave their body, ordinary people, their body becomes stiff, isn't it? Because people are totally unprepared. We see that sometimes animals, they will leave like very suddenly and their body, so Prabhupada's body, that is one of the symptoms that Prabhupada's body was very, in French it's called souple, very loose. That means, as it is mentioned here, because of the elevated consciousness of someone who is practicing Krishna consciousness, therefore he is, we could say, not on the bodily platform, and as stated here also by Srila Prabhupada, his body is because of all of the different activities and the elevated consciousness of such an individual, the body has become actually spiritualized, and that is why we normally in Vedic cultures, we know we cremate the body. For most people, the body is cremated, but for saintly persons, the body is put in samadhi, isn't it? And that place, that's samadhi, just like Vrindavan is full of so many samadhis. So those samadhis are places of worship where one can go, pay obeisances, etc., like that. So we get a little glimpse of course, for ordinary people don't believe in demigods, but we understand from Shastra, it's to us it's like very obvious. There are different personalities, different, Prabhupada speaks about different human beings in Bhur and Bhuvar Loka. Different planetary systems exist for different types of human beings. There are so many types of living entities in different planets throughout the universe, and they are all going through some particular, everyone is placed in these different locations according to their previous activities. There's a whole description of the different types of, just like out of 8,400,000 species, there are 400,000 human species. Some of them are on this planet, but most of them are on other planets in different parts of the universe. And all of them are spirit souls who are going through their according to their karma, are being sometimes elevated to heavenly planets, or are remaining on this planet, or going down to lower planets as well. So we understand from Shastra also that it is on this Earth planet, of all the different planets, whether higher planets or lower planetary systems, it is on this Earth planet that is the best location, or that one gets best opportunity for actually taking up the spiritual life. Why? Why it is like that? Because in the heavenly planets, there's too much of attraction for sense enjoyment, and therefore the tendency of forgetting what is the real purpose of life. And in the lower planets, there's too much of suffering. When, just like on this planet also, people who are very poverty-stricken, people who are very diseased, they are by nature, we could say, forced to be on the bodily platform, isn't it? Many people, even today actually, even in our so-called advanced modern civilization, many people are suffering from hunger. You know, we don't think about it because we get our 2 or 3 meals a day without even thinking about it. But there are many people who actually die of starvation now, 2024. There are many such, we call, abominable conditions, and when one is in such very difficult condition, it's very not so easy for them to take up the spiritual life. So therefore, we should try to, we should try to appreciate the fact that we are located or situated in what is the most ideal place for practicing spiritual life. And not only that, but we have many many advantages that we very often don't think about. I mean, we have taken birth, all of us, quite recently, actually, isn't it? We've all taken birth at a very auspicious moment in history. I mean, people take birth, all the time in the material world, but not very few people take birth after Krishna and after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appear, because that's a very unique and special time, which, as we know, happens once in a day of Brahma. So it's like extremely, extremely rare to be born at this time. And we are also, if we think about it, those who were born, of course, it's good to be born soon after Lord Krishna appeared, because one gets the benefit of the knowledge that he has left. Those who were born before Lord Chaitanya appeared, they did not get the benefit of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, in other words, we have a kind of, you could say, double fortune, because we're born soon after Krishna appeared and left his teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, which are still intact. And we are born just a few years after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also appeared. And in many ways, because it's very close, you know, we have books that describe both of these, the activities of these personalities, means Krishna, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we have great saintly persons, means in our Guru Parampara, who are very, we call well versed. So in other words, we have, we are born in a human body, which affords us the ability, the possibility of knowing and cultivating this knowledge, this science of Krishna consciousness. And we are actually given the opportunity to be part of this, what is the meaning of Renaissance? Have you heard this term? Renaissance. Actually, it's a French term, but it's also used. There are many.
Revolution.
Huh?
Revolution.
Revelation. Revelation. No, Renaissance doesn't mean revelation. Revelation means to reveal something. Renaissance is one word. It comes from the word naissance, which means birth. And I guess in a gross way, you could translate Renaissance as rebirth.
Yes.
As rebirth. But not in terms of karmic reaction that we are, you know, like we are born, reincarnation. Renaissance is not equivalent to reincarnation. Renaissance means, in the context that we're discussing, means reawakening. In other words, the historical period in which we're living now, since the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu's presence, Mahaprabhu's appearance, Mahaprabhu's Jayanti, to connect with the purport, was to actually bring a reawakening or renaissance, a spiritual reawakening in today's very misguided and degraded society. So unless we understand this, unless we keep this in mind, unless we remind ourselves of the sufferings that are there in the material world caused by ignorance, but caused by not knowing what is given in Bhagavad Gita, what is presented in our Vedic literatures, then we will not take so seriously the process of Krishna consciousness, and it will be to our, let's say, disadvantage. Means we will continue our being here in the material world. We'll continue to suffer in the material world, and also we will not give the opportunity to others to also stop their suffering in the material world. So, in other words, it is directly connected with one of the main instructions given by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially actually to those who are born in Bharat Varsha.
But I think, Maharaji,
You think?
I miss every chance to born. I think I have to born in the Yuga of Krishna, but I miss. And I have to born in the Yuga of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I miss. Even I was not born in the Yuga of Prabhupada. The great revolution is happening.
But you don't understand what is your fortune. We don't have to be born when Krishna is born. We don't have to be born when Lord Chaitanya is born. or when they appear. And we don't have to be born when Srila Prabhupada appears. Because this was a question one devotee asked, oh, Arjuna was so fortunate. He was right there. He was right there in front of Krishna, and Krishna was speaking to him directly. How fortunate. The Prabhupada explains actually that same fortune that Arjuna had, we also have. Because Arjuna was hearing the transcendental instructions given by Krishna. We also have that same opportunity. There were many people who were physically present, who saw Krishna, but never recognized, never accepted, and therefore did not, of course, they got the benefit, anyone who saw Krishna. So the idea is that we should never think that, okay, we are so unfortunate because we were not there, when the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was taking place. We get opportunity to, like we do actually every evening, we hear about the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we are extremely fortunate because we are getting this opportunity, and we should not, Prabhupada makes this point, don't lose this opportunity that is given to those who are born at this time, because within a very short time, within a very short years, the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will not be there. The movement and the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as per Shastra, is going to last only a certain period of time within this Kali Yuga. Otherwise,
28,
huh?
after 28 Kali Yuga. After 27.
After 27 Kali Yugas.
Yeah.
No. There is a 10,000 period within this Kali Yuga, where Satya Yuga will be reestablished. That is prediction in the Shastra that there's a golden age. We are at the very early beginnings of this golden age. Isn't it? Just like when we are at the beginning of the day, witnessing the rising of the sun. Even before the rising of the sun, even before we see the sun, we start to see light, isn't it? Yeah. So in a similar way, the movement of Lord Chaitanya is at that very early beginning. So that we should try to understand. We have been given by Krishna's inconceivable mercy the opportunity to be born at this particular time. We have all the tools, all that is necessary to actually develop all the good qualities needed to become a Mahatma. The goal of life actually is to become a purified soul, isn't it? Otherwise, without becoming Mahatma, without becoming purified in consciousness, we simply continue our suffering in the material world. So Bhishma Dev is one such great personalities, and of course, he has, like all great personalities, like Narada Muni also is a great personality, who's also a Mahatma, one of the 12 Mahajans, and everyone has their own history, their own activities. But every living entity, especially we could say those who are fortunate to take birth at this particular time, have this very special opportunity to hear, from Bhagavatam, and it's up to each and every individual to regularly hear what is being presented in the pages of the Bhagavatam. It's up to each and every one of us. Every day, Krishna is giving us an opportunity to take up so many different services. And if we don't take advantage of that, then we are the ones who are losing, isn't it? Yeah. So, yeah, just a few more, I guess in the next 2 or 3 days, there's just 4, yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9, 4 more verses in this chapter. Any comments or thoughts on this verse? Yes.
Maharaj, actually, where person uh, such exalted devotee of Lord Hari, their their body, their body not different from um, their soul. Their body also become transcendental. Uh, Here mention it, but uh, not only Hari's devotees, also others devotees who are like Lord Shiva, their bodies also become transcendental. Yes, yeah,
Okay.
no.
Your question is because we are discussing how when one takes up to the process of devotional service, which means to reawaken our original spiritual consciousness, spiritual identity, because of all the different activities we perform, then this material body becomes, we don't say spiritual, we say spiritualized. Spiritualized. So your question is whether people who follow other processes, uh, whether their body also becomes spiritualized. That's your question. We understand that unless one uh, comes to know about his actual identity as an eternal servant of Krishna, uh, other processes will awaken to some extent um, some understanding that we are not this body, but the body will also uh, take on, if one is situated in the mode of goodness, but unless one takes to bhakti, bhakti is what awakens the dormant spiritual self. So that bhakti is reserved especially for those who are Krishna Bhakta. Uh, Bhakti is for uh, those who accept Vishnu, just like Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. So this process of remembering, this process of, uh, of glorifying will give this desired result of the body becoming spiritualized uh, to those who are practicing bhakti. Yeah. We have to, there are so many different demigods, isn't it? So one may say, well, why by worshipping other demigods, this will also not happen? Because the it is only by the process of bhakti, bhakti in relation to Krishna, that one's spiritual body actually becomes, we could say, awakened, that we become conscious of our spiritual body. People who practice other forms of spirituality, that is a different type of effect will be there. Of course, there are people who are mystics and they can seemingly, their body might take on some kind of so it is the practice of bhakti which enables the body to actually become spiritualized. Otherwise we follow, and we don't, otherwise we would have to accept the philosophy that whatever path you follow leads to the same destination, which is not the case. That's clearly established in the Bhagavad Gita, that only by the process of pure devotional service one can, we could say, become spiritualized or Krishnized. When we say spiritual, we refer to Krishnized. Krishnized means becoming conscious of our original identity in relation to Krishna. Yeah.
But still, if the body of a pure devotee is spiritualized, he still has like his spiritual body in the spiritual world, which is different from the spiritualized body on this planet.
So the question is whether whether the spiritualized body of a pure devotee on this planet is the same as his spiritual body in the spiritual world. It is different. When we say spiritualized, it means that is not the eternal form of that, because in the spiritual world, every body, every form is like Krishna, Navayovanam. There is no old age in the spiritual world, isn't it? Advaitam achyutam anadim anantarupam adyam purana purusham Navayovanam cha. Krishna is eternally youthful, and all living entities also in the spiritual world. So when we say spiritualized, we don't mean that it is the eternal form of that living entity. But because the body has been fully engaged in the service of Krishna, Prabhupada gives that example in the purport here, like that iron which has been constantly in touch with the fire. So one may argue it's an iron rod, but because it has taken on the qualities of fire, it is not an ordinary iron rod. It will act like fire,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah. So it is that iron rod has become, we don't say spiritualized, but whatever, has taken on the quality of fire. So similar to the material body, which is always engaged, spiritual body. I mean, material body, we mean not only the gross body, but also the mind, thinking, feeling, and willing, when fully engaged in Krishna service, then all of that becomes spiritualized. And therefore worshipable, isn't it? As we worship Krishna, as we worship living entities who are at that liberated stage. Okay. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Gauda Pimanandi.